Okay, so I've created a new Illustrator document, labeled it image trace because that's what we're learning. I've downloaded a black and white clip art of anything and my PDF. So in Illustrator, File, Place, sorry, that's the train outside. I'm going to my desktop because I put everything in my marking period 1 folder as I should. Find the clip art, place it, and click and drag it. So if I do preview mode, this is a placed picture. It is not vector art. What vector art means is if I zoom in here really close, you see how there's pixels. That edge is not clean. If I draw something and fill it with black, notice there are no pixels. I could zoom in a gazillion times and I'm gonna have vector art, which means clean edges, not pixelated. So it's important to understand the difference when you're trying to create vector art versus raster art. Okay, so if I want to make this vector and not have to draw it, while this is selected, I go to Object and then go down to, where is it at? Image Trace. Click Make and Expand. I'm going to say OK. Might take a minute. Now, if I do preview mode, notice I didn't have to draw it. Now this is all vector. But the weird thing with image tracing, if I go back to preview mode, notice it automatically makes 2 copies. This copy here is white. If I select here, notice my fill is black. If I select here, notice my fill is white. So to prevent confusion, if you're going to live trace and work on something like this, what I do is I deselect using the white arrow. I grab my background. Notice it is filled white. If I can delete the background, but I'm still going to have the double copy of the diamond. So I'm going to go up to Select, Same, Fill Color. And what it's doing is it's selecting everything that's white. Just for now, just to show you, I'm going to fill that red and move that. So this is what it's selected, and this is what I'm going to delete. And I'm also going to delete this because I don't need that. So now, let's say I want to modify this design. I can grab individual points and distort my design. I can change it. So without having to redraw this entire shape, I now have one layer of vector art that I grabbed from clip art. It's important though to make sure that your art is very contrasting black and white. And I'm going to show you why. So now I'm going to go to File and Place. And now I'm going to grab our Zentangle. But before I upload this, I want to click on Show Import Options because I scanned everyone's work. There's 16 of you. So you need to find your work. And I'm just going to go with the first one and upload that. And again, I'm just going to click and drag this, Command 0, so you can see what I'm doing. Now, again, Command Y, this is a placed image. This up here is vector art. So if we do a pattern Zentangle design, and rather than having to draw this by hand, I can go back up to Object and Image Trace, or look over here in Properties. It's down here, Image Trace. Now this gives me options. Let's say I have something in color, I can separate it, but that sometimes gets a little crazy. So I'm going to still keep it at black and white and expand. Now, notice how the name disappeared. That's because that was written with pencil or pen and it was very thin. So the pixels were not picked up as well as it was with this vector art. So again, I'm going to select this background that is white, select, same fill color, and delete. So now I have just my black art. And I can, with my white arrow, click and drag around and delete the stuff I don't want. So I'm going to click that. So now what I want you to do, or at least review, oops, see I lost some of my design there. So let's say I love this design, but when I delete this background box, it's actually connected. So what I'm going to do is draw a new box around that. I don't want it to be filled. Learned that lesson today. Unfill it. I'm going to stroke it with red just so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, So let me just delete this other stuff up here with the white arrow. Delete twice. Okay, so I just want this pattern. So what I'm going to do is Command A is select all, or I could click and drag over. And now go to Window, go down to Pathfinder. With the Pathfinder box open, while everything's selected, this button here will divide. So think of the red square as now like a cookie cutter or a puzzle divider. So now that I've divided, now it added that red stroke weight, but I can change that later. But everything in this box now is separate from out here. So now when I click and drag, it's going to delete that as a separate piece. And you see this weird stuff happening. It's just because the way the live image trace works, it's dividing it weird. So I'm going to just grab these. Oops, I can go in here too and see there's some weird stuff happening. Don't forget, it also, Pathfinder will potentially double. Okay, so now if I select this, I want to make sure there's no stroke weight on anything. So while this is selected, there's no stroke color. And now I should have my vector art. I'm just going to test something out first. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing as the live trace. So if I select this, black, select same fill color, I'm going to move everything that's black out of the way. And this is the white copy. So very much like live trace, when you do Pathfinder, it's going to give you a double copy, but that's okay. So now, instead of having to draw this, which sometimes might be easier to draw in Illustrator, I can take what exists and just manipulate this. Let me just see. You know, I can play around with my pattern design now as vector art. That's it.